Commissioner George Lindsey gave us some insight into the county's budgeting process and also gave us an update on the status of the new Northeast Government Center.
Where our revenues, the values of all taxable values in the county peaked back in '07 and '08. Then we began to see the decline in valuation, which translates to tax revenues also decline, and began to climb out of that era during the 12-13 period, and we've seen some steady growth since then. So now in fiscal year 1920, which we're in now, those taxable values are just barely above where they were, back in '07, '08. So our predecessor boards had some challenges as to how to get through those times when the revenues were down and the demand for services weren't down, but the revenues were. So now we're back to that same level we were 10 or 12 years ago, and the foreseeable future appears to be steady increases going forward, which is what the chart reflects of those increases. Now, recent events with the coronavirus, how is that going to affect us? Probably not drastically in total revenues, but there will be some slight decline in sales tax revenues and some of those consumer activated things. But we'll just have to take that as it comes. Yeah, deal with it at the time. Another chart that is draw attention to is this big red ball here. All ad valorem taxes, which is all property taxes, both your home and your land, as well as business property and business equipment, tangible personal property. Not only does a grocery store or a warehouse have the land and the building tax, but the equipment inside that building is also taxed at the same rate. So that's all referred to as ad valorem, both real estate as well as tangible personal property. And the estimated value for that in this current fiscal year total is $198 million. The rest of the budget is made up of other revenues, other charges, and miscellaneous fees that are collected. But the property tax is the one that hits people most. When do I get my tax bill in November? How much have I got to write this check for? Or fortunately, most people have that built into their mortgage payment, and it's there when they need to be paid. But I've put this in perspective. Of this $198 million, 90% of those dollars are dedicated to running the sheriff's office, both the law enforcement as well as the jails. So the county really relies on a small part of ad valorem to run its daily operations, but a lot of revenue from other sources keeps the doors open.
So again, you said 90%?
90% of all ad valorem is used to run the jail and law enforcement. Rather than travel all the way to Bartow and add more load to the Bartow facilities, the Northeast Center was thought to be worthwhile and served a very good purpose for that part of the county. But as time has gone on, I think we went into that building in 2002. We're leasing about 30 or 40,000 square feet of that building. Over time, we've outgrown that facility. It was old when we moved into it. It's even older now. I think it was built back in the early '60s. Sited on a single site in the northeast part of Lake Alfred in their corporate limits, and struck a deal with the property owner. And I think for a little over $2 million, we're buying almost 30 acres. And while our target early on was probably 10 or 12 acres, the opportunity at this time and the single location, it seemed prudent to go ahead and acquire more than today's needs and recognizing that future needs will have to be expanded. So I think
the other thing is there are aspects of this land that also made it a good idea. It's already cleared.
That's right. It's already cleared. It's already got space dedicated for stormwater retention, which obviously takes land out of use. It's big enough, as I mentioned earlier, the tax collector's role now includes issuing driver's licenses and conducting driver testing. So the site is now suitable to build a track so that he can conduct those driver testing on site.